Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. 6 Cowboys who could be cut before playing a snap. The Dallas Cowboys are trying to defend their title as NFC East Division champions for the 2024 season, but they have a brutal road ahead. Not only are the Cowboys going to have tough competition from the Eagles, but they also have to battle a lot of major changes to the roster and coaching staff from the 2024 offseason. Some of the changes could be beneficial, but looming contract situations for players like quarterback Dak Prescott and wide receiver CeeDee Lamb certainly make it difficult for the Cowboys to fully focus on the task at hand. Meanwhile, there are battles happening all over the roster between players jockeying for depth chart positioning or just even 53-man roster spots in general. The Cowboys, like every NFL team, have a lot of players who need to shine in the preseason to avoid being cut. There are a handful of players who could end up being cut before the season even begins and never get a chance to put on a Cowboys uniform. Snoop Conner isn't exactly in the most crowded position group for the Dallas Cowboys right now, but he might not have the best chance at a roster spot anyway. Conner is a pretty incredible story, having made it to the NFL with only 2 starts to his name at the college level at Ole Mississippi. Despite not being the starter for the Rebels, Conner was able to rack up 26 total touchdowns and average over 5 yards per carry. The Jaguars scooped him up in the 5th round of the 2022 NFL Draft, and the Cowboys must have had a decent grade on him because they poached him away from Jacksonville this offseason when they signed him to a reserve/futures contract. As of right now, the favorites to win roster spots at the Cowboys' running back position are Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, Royce Freeman, and Deuce Vaughn along with Hunter Luepke. Even if the Cowboys did have a high grade on Conner, he's going to need a big preseason to make the cut. Zeke on 2024 Outlook, Joint Practice vs. Rams. There's no need to check the date on your calendar because it is indeed August 2024 and, yes, Ezekiel Elliott is preparing to suit up for the Dallas Cowboys in September, a reunion that was only 1 year in the making following his departure after the 2022 season. "We are keenly interested in seeing what the future might look like with Zeke," said owner and general manager Jerry Jones in the spring. "It's a depth chart that, to now, has been slathered with question marks following the departure of Tony Pollard in free agency and the amount of unproven, inexperienced young talent behind Rico Dowdle, who himself re-signed this offseason on a 1-year deal. For his part, though, Elliott says he feels great as he prepares for the joint practice against the Los Angeles Rams on Thursday, August 8 in Oxnard. "I think it's good to see a different style of defense, to see a different defense and a different system," said the former 2-time NFL rushing champ on Tuesday. "I know we have a lot of vets, and vets probably won't play in the preseason, so it's good to get some different looks in practice, and those joint practices are a different speed. It's good for us to get those reps." Elliott will be one of many first-teamers who will not see the field come Sunday at SoFi Stadium in the preseason opener, and getting reps against the Rams in joint practice will go a long way in helping him to sharpen himself ahead of his 9th regular season. That means both on the ground and in the air. "I take pride in being an all-around back," said the 2-time All-Pro. "I want to be viable in all assets of the game." There is a lot on the line for the Cowboys this coming season, including the contractual status of head coach Mike McCarthy, who is looking to take another step in making his number 1 ranked offense that much better by, this time around, having a rushing attack that can supremely complement what Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb and others can produce in the air. Elliott understands there is no way of knowing when his next year will be his final one, so it's all about capitalizing on the now. And that's a theme that is permeating Cowboys camp this year. "I think we all know what I'm looking to accomplish before it's all said and done, so there's no reason to say it," Elliott said. "We're gonna take this thing day by day, and focus on getting better, one practice at a time." Dak Prescott urged to shut down Cowboys contract offers, say no to everything. It's not quite what Cowboys fans want to hear, backers of Dak Prescott, at least, but a month before the start of the 2024 season, it could well already be too late for the team to lock up Prescott on a long-term extension. Increasingly, it looks like Prescott will head to free agency in March of 2025, effectively creating a bidding war among what could be a slew of teams desperate for a top-tier quarterback. That's the view of top NFL contract expert Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac, who spoke with Dan Soman on the latest Spotrac podcast and laid out why the ship has probably already sailed on a new Prescott contract, and why Prescott is almost obligated to go to free agency next year. At issue, Ginnitti says, is the idea that the NFL salary cap is going to continue to spike by more than $30 million per year in the coming years. That's one reason we've seen ballooning contracts at premium positions, including wide receiver but especially quarterback, where a new high water mark has been reached almost weekly, it seems. The salary cap jumped from $224 million last year to $255 million in 2024, a trend that should continue, and should bring more eye-popping salaries to the quarterback position. The Cowboys, ideally, would lock Prescott up on a long-term contract under today's salary cap, which will look like a bargain even in a few short years. Prescott has absolutely no reason to accept that. He's saying no to everything right now, right? Ginnitti noted. As well he should, according to Ginnitti. Prescott has no reason to take a long-term deal with the Cowboys this year, not when he holds as much power as he does in the situation now. He has $54 million ahead of him for 2024, so he is under no pressure for an immediate payday. The Cowboys would still have a $40 million cap hit because of the void year structure of his contract if they lost him next winter. They would not get all that much immediate relief from losing Prescott. And the one reason he'd be tempted to sign now, the prospect of injury, isn't all that concerning. Kirk Cousins is 36 and just got a 4-year, $180 million contract despite a torn Achilles tendon, after all. What Dallas is doing, they're trying to give him a career contract and he's trying to take a 3- or 4-year deal, Ginnitti said. He's trying to do right by the players and take the short deal because the cap is going to be $350 by the time that contract is done and he knows it. That's what's happening. Ginnitti and Soman then outlined a long list of teams that would, potentially, be hard after Prescott. The Raiders and Giants would be the most obvious. Especially if some other QB situations don't work out. The Broncos and Saints are also likely to have interest. Other teams, the Buccaneers, Titans, Seahawks, Steelers, and, heck, even the 49ers could get involved if their current quarterback situations don't work out. All are seen to have contender-type rosters, but just need a quarterback to unlock the potential. Prescott is a 3-time Pro Bowler who led the league in completions, 410, and touchdowns, 36, last season. There will be a market, as long as Prescott has the patience to get there. Ginnitti drew a comparison to baseball stars and superagent Scott Boras, who almost never has clients sign extensions. I feel like Scott Boras is calling him, Ginnitti said, and being like, dude, don't even pick up the phone anymore, March 12th is happening, you gotta let this go to free agency, you gotta get 9 offers, you gotta let this happen. That's the real way to maximize everything he is doing right now. He's done everything else right, the no tags, the voids, everything else is on his side. To not go to free agency now would be a travesty, in my opinion. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Dak Prescott? Leave your opinion in the comments.